Good evening. I'm enjoying my tench fishing of late, and I'm normally out first thing in the morning, but I thought I would get a couple of hours in at the opposite end of the day today. I've just put some bait out, ready to cast out. I'll be making a cup of tea, or at least pouring a cup of tea shortly from the flask that I've already made up, and I'll be back, hopefully, with a tinker. You do have to stay focused because some of the bites are very gentle. However, when you strike, you realise you've got something a little bit more significant on the end of the line. Not particularly a big tench compared to some of the ones I've been catching recently, but very welcome indeed. A second one has taken the bait. I'll show you all the setup in due course. But this is a bigger tench than the first one, without doubt. Unless it's wrapped around the weed, which is quite dense in places. But no, it is a bigger fish. I'm having to backwind. I had a question this week on Bayside Radio where I have a weekly angling slot, and it was about playing a fish. I've talked about backwinding, which is what you can see there. You flick the switch on your reel, you backwind. Sometimes you can adjust the clutch. Well, in this case, it's at the other end of the reel, sometimes at the top. But you can adjust the clutch, and that lets line off. I tend to backwind, which is what I'm doing now, and playing this fish. It does seem like a decent one as well. It's more of a plodder than one that goes off like an express train. Sometimes you do foul hook them though, and that's the thing with tench. I've been talking a lot about that, or at least writing about it recently, as to why you lose a lot of tinkers. And it's the fact that they are bottom feeders. They have huge pectoral fins compared to other species, and you do get a lot of foul hooks. The fish has taken me into a snag, absolutely solid. I did tug at it a few times, but I was going to lose it if I continued. So what I've done is I've put the rod on the ground and I've let the bail arm off, and I'm waiting for the line to then go, which it is now. So I've still got the fish on the end, and hopefully the plan is that the fish then frees itself from the snag, comes out naturally back into open water, and I can connect with it. Well, that line was going briefly, it's now stopped. I'll give it a few more seconds or so, see how it develops, because when it goes into a snag, you've lost the fish anyway, haven't you? But if you do what I've just said, I find very often that the fish itself will then come into the open water. We shall see on this occasion, I'm not sure. I didn't lose the gear, I've managed to retrieve, and that was the problem. Just a small section there of what came in, and obviously very, very dense weed out there. It had gone into that and it was locked inside it, but at least I've got the gear back. The tackle. Oh, and by the way, the fish was intact as well. This is the rod that I'm fishing with. It's a quiver tip. It's a Fox Barbel Special, 1.5 pound test curve, perfect for tench fishing, and a Kuma Xeon reel that's loaded with 6 pound Maxima Chameleon, and it goes right the way through, where you can see the 1/4 ounce lead there, small bead, small shot, hook length of about 6 inches. It's a size 10 Drennan Super Specialist hook, and I've got a grain of corn on the end there, and I'm fishing over brown crumb and corn. One thing you always do whenever you've had a snag is to then run the line through your thumb and forefinger like that, because you can then feel if there's any abrasion, because often Not now because it was weed, so that's okay, but often when there's been a branch or even a rock or something like that, the line is weakened, and the last thing you want to do is then cast out and have a break when you get the next fish. So do that whenever you hit a snag. In fact, it's worthwhile doing that on a regular basis anyway, especially if you're fishing over a stony bottom. I'm over quite a silty bed. It's easy to fish, it's great, no problems at all, other than the odd massive clump of weed, as I've just discovered. But even then I navigated that by putting the rod down, let the fish free itself, although on this occasion I had to give it a little bit of a tease as well. You know how far to go, don't you? You know what tackle you're using, what fish you're targeting, and also the place that you're on. Oh, hook pull. That was a very good tench. Oh, that's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? I was looking forward to getting that one in the net. I did catch a glimpse of it out there. Never mind, I'm going to cast out again.